Good day. Welcome to my video on how to download Ubuntu. Today we're going to concentrate on downloading Ubuntu from our web browser. We're currently using Mozilla Firefox. We're running this on Windows 7 desktop computer. We're going to download it, create a bootable USB from our download, and serve that up as ready to install on the same PC. And we're going to show you some of the steps involved with doing that bit of process. There's a couple ways we're going to get to building an ISO of Ubuntu. One is strictly by using the Windows method, and the other will be partially moving to Ubuntu to do the final creation. So you can see both ways of doing it depending on whether you've watched my videos in the past, where normally I do the USB creation on Ubuntu because I'm always usually got a Ubuntu desktop running. But I figured today I'd start with looking at it from a Windows perspective so that you could get an idea of how to go from Windows over to Ubuntu nice and easy. Well, let's go to the Ubuntu download page, which we're currently looking at right now. It's at www.ubuntu.com/download. Now, once we're here, it presents this page for us here, and it'll offer us a couple versions. The first one is the one we're going to use, which is Ubuntu Desktop. There's also the Ubuntu Server version, which is basically a version that has, as you can see, has a fairly large model, so it's good for 5 years. It does not have a desktop, so it's fairly light that way. And Cloud is kind of a package that you would use, or an installation that you would use, I should say, when you are building on cloud infrastructure, or you're actually building the cloud-based infrastructure on servers yourself. Most people, I don't think, really want to do that or have any requirement to use that, so we're going to pass that off. And instead we're going to simply stick with the Ubuntu Desktop. Get the Ubuntu Desktop, we click on Ubuntu Desktop, and that takes us to our desktop download page. And you can see here that it comes in two flavors, two versions which have two flavors, I should say. So there's the extended support version, which is, like I said, it's good for people who want long-term support, typically a 5-year support cycle. So long-term support is available on the desktop using Ubuntu version 12.04 LTS. We, on the other hand, are going to pick the most current version of Ubuntu, which is Ubuntu 13.04. This is a support version that's only supported for 9 months. And this is important to remember. If you don't really want to have to go through the process of losing support on your installation after 9 months, you may want to go with the long-term support versions. However, if you're looking for the latest software, the latest versions of stuff in Ubuntu, you probably want to go with 13.04. You can use it for longer than 9 months. It just means you're not going to get support after 9 months. That's really all it means. The software may run for 20 years without issue. So now that we've picked which option we want, in this case we want the latest version, Ubuntu 13.04, as opposed to long-term support, we now pick our flavor, as they've stated it here, the 32-bit version or 64-bit version. Now, it does leave an important note here. So, if you are using Windows 8 PCs with UEFI firmware, pick the 64-bit download. And this is very important because in many cases, the Windows 8 is not installed as Windows 32-bit. There are a few that have them, but most of them nowadays, because the PCs are all 64-bit processors, are all running 64-bit versions. It's very hard to buy a PC running a 32-bit version of Windows 8, though there's a few out there that I can think of from various OEMs. But regardless of that, if you're running newish hardware, like a motherboard that's been out in the last year or so, UEFI is become very popular, and it's replacing the original BIOS boards. So that's very important to remember, to make sure you get the 64-bit version so you get that support. If you are running a 32-bit version, a 32-bit processor, then of course you're going to pick a 32-bit version and go that route. Anyways, let's click on this link here, and we'll go ahead and start doing our download. Now, the first thing it's going to ask you to do is say, give us some money. But in most cases, people are going to say, no, not now, take me to download. And that's fine. Now it'll take you to this page here, and your download should start. In this case, we're going to click on that to get it to roll here. Now, the first thing I like to do before I say, yeah, let's download, is look and say, is this what I want to download? Is this the right version? So it's telling me it's Ubuntu 13.04 desktop AMD64.ISO. So that tells me, yes, I'm getting Ubuntu, the latest version. It is the desktop version, not the server version or alternative version. And it is the 64-bit version because it is AMD 64. And it's ISO, so it's the right one. It tells me here, erroneously in my machine, that it's an MD5 file at 785 megabyte. And this is the site I'm downloading it from. As you see, it's a site in the UK, which for me is going to be very slow. So I say, yes, I want to save that file, and away it goes. Now, in this case, it's going to take about, in this particular fashion, about 10 minutes to download. So, and that's really all it is. We'll wait for this to download. Now, let's go back, and we're going to take a look over here back at this page where we can say download the Ubuntu desktop. There's other options for getting Ubuntu, right? So here, there's the Chinese version of Ubuntu you can get. You can buy Ubuntu if you want, but in this case they're only offering the 12.04 LTS CD. But there's other places you could go and get the latest version of Ubuntu downloaded on a CD. Heck, I would, you send me $10, I'd send you the latest CD as well with Ubuntu on it. For $20, I'd give you a USB key with it. These are things that you can, people will do for you just as a courtesy. If you, want to, do it locally, I would suggest contacting your local Linux user group. They should be able to help you out in providing you with a CD or a USB key with your installation on that you want to use. There's also documents over here, more like help pages, if you will, about how to do various things with Ubuntu, like how to run Ubuntu from a DVD or USB stick. In other words, how to use the live CD environment, or how to burn a DVD if you're not sure how to burn a DVD. But the other thing it tells you here is for alternative download options, and they don't really highlight this much anymore because it uses BitTorrent. The beauty of BitTorrent versus direct download is that you're not subject to the time frame of the provider. So if you're on a fast site, which we're on right now, we can get the download in a few minutes. If we're not on a fast site, it could take a long time. We've hit sometimes mirrors of Ubuntu that are taking up to an hour to download the CD. With BitTorrent, you can find that you might get better results. The beauty of BitTorrent also is that when your download is complete in BitTorrent, you're ensured you've got a proper copy of that. If you're doing a direct download without using a download management tool, then you're taking your chances as far as getting a proper copy. But BitTorrent, as we can see down here, and we're going to click on this link here to see the list of alternate downloads, shows us the BitTorrent links that we can get here. If we want to select mirrors off directly in our area rather than downloading it possibly from somewhere else that we don't want, like right now we're downloading from the UK, and we're on the west coast of the US. And if you're looking for older versions of Ubuntu, of course, there's a link here that allows you to go back to some of the older versions. So that's kind of the nice thing too. So if you're looking for something that's not the most current, because this is what all the download does, is gives you the most current versions of the two downloads. So thank you very much. I hope this was a helpful video for those of you that have not downloaded Ubuntu before and what the different versions are. Obviously, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the notes below. But thank you for participating and watching this video. Have a great day.